Hi everyone, it's Shilo here today with another process video. Today I'm going to be using this stamp set by Pajama Crafter Stamps called Unstoppable. I used the main image and quite a few of the sentiments on this card, and just showing you a quick little peek here of the finished product. I did turn this into a wobbler, and I think it's great for a New Year's card. Kind of a great encouragement card. All right, so I'd already stamped this out with Memento Ink on Hammermill cardstock. I will list all the colors of the Copic markers below for you guys so that you can see what colors I'm using. And I did try to keep my marker lids in the screen here for you so that you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. But again, I will list those down below just so that you don't have to worry about that if you are interested at all in the colors I used. So I did go with a warm gray for her armor today. No rhyme or reason. I think I just prefer I prefer the look of the warm gray. But I mean, an armor could be cool gray, neutral gray, any kind of gray you want really, or silver or bronze or, you know, so just personal preference really. I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot to say while I color up this image, but I will also mark in the video if I can figure out how, because I'm new to all of this, but I'm going to mark where the rest of the card process starts so that you guys, if you don't want to watch the coloring, you can just go ahead and skip up to that time and you will be able to watch the rest of the process. This, of course, is all in double time. So you're going to see me coloring. And I did leave, pardon me, I have a little bit of a tickle in my throat here. I did leave, I think, all of the coloring in rather than skipping it for those people that do like to watch the coloring. I was definitely tempted to, like, you know, just show a little bit of the warm gray and then move on. But I did leave all of the coloring in. So if it's not your jam, again, go ahead and skip. Otherwise, how was everybody's New Year? I was in bed by 10 o'clock, which is actually late for me. So yeah, I only made it till 10 p.m., which I wasn't even trying to make it late. It just happened that way, and I'm okay with it. All right, so I did use a little bit of cool gray here on her sword, just to give a bit of a contrast between the sword and the rest of her armor. So that's what we're doing here. And I went with a darker handle. I know there's probably a proper name for that, but and then a lighter, the sharp end is lighter. Okay, so now we're going to go in and color her skin. This is kind of my go-to skin color. Or colors, I should say. So I use E01, E00, and E000. I just find, for me, it's no-brainer to just go to the same color scheme all the time, which is maybe not ideal. I know lots of people definitely do different colors depending, or there's also lots of different skin tones out there that I just haven't really experimented with much yet, so. And we just made her cheeks a little bit rosy as well. And I'm coloring in her eyes, giving her some pretty blue eyes. I'm just blending that all out so we don't have any weird lines in there. Anybody that is new to Copics, blending is your friend. Of course, you can oversaturate your paper, but yeah, blending is the trick. You don't want any harsh looking lines, and I try really hard not to do that, but sometimes if you look really close you might see them, because it's weird because when they dry sometimes you can see the lines a little bit more than maybe when the Copic marker is still wet on the paper, and so I don't always notice it until I'm taking photos or something, and then I'm like, oh no. Anyways, just coloring up her hair, and how I did that was I just started with my lightest color and I colored the whole bun all in the lightest shade. And then I went in with my medium tone, just kind of doing a flicking motion where I thought the darker shades might be. And then I went again in with my dark tone and did that same flicking motion. And then I went back in with the medium tone again and did a flicking motion. So there's tons of ways to do hair on like video tutorials, and I am definitely not a pro. So I just kind of do it the way I think looks okay. And my final touch here with the coloring is I chose to go in with my black Prismacolor pencil, just to add a bit more shading. I don't always do this on my images, but when I do, I'm usually quite impressed with how much depth it adds to the image. And you can see here, I realized as I was coloring her helmet that I forgot to color her hair strands around her face. So I just was going back in and doing that quickly. But yeah, back to the Prisma pencil. I've seen quite a few artists, I would say, they do card making and whatnot, but I feel like their strong point is definitely the coloring. And a lot of them will use a black pencil to shade in. And I am very amateur beginner at this, so I may not be doing it the best way or even with the correct light source, angle, etc. But yeah, we all got to start somewhere. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And I just, like I say, I feel like it really upped the way that the armor especially looked. It just gave it that more dimensional look. So you could probably achieve this with a darker marker as well if you were really good at getting in there and blending out your markers. But yeah, I just find the pencil quick and easy for that, and you don't have to blend it out. The trick though that I have learned is you want to have a nice sharp point and just go in with a light hand and go in over it. Like if you want it darker, you're better off to go light first and just go over it repetitively, as opposed to like going in with a dark pencil mark initially. That's the trick that I found. And so I just go in really lightly and kind of almost like I'm blending it out, but I don't go very far out either. It's almost like just a really thin line where I want those shadows. That's how I do it. Like I say, I'm very amateur, very beginner at this, so there's probably way better techniques out there. But if you're interested, I'm sure if you start watching people who use the pencils, you're gonna see some way better tips and tricks. Okay, so that pretty much finishes up our girl for coloring. And then I almost always on every card end up using some stickles and some glossy accents. So for her little heart here, I just put some stickles on. And one of my tricks is that I use a pin. And this helps me either, if I've gone out the lines, you can kind of scrape it off, or you can spread it around really finely as well if you can't quite get to that edge. And here I am now going in with glossy accents over her eyes. And the same thing, you can use a pin if there's any air bubbles, or if you've just gone outside the line, you can just scrape it off, and it's not an eraser, but you can just kind of scoop that little bit of liquid out of the area that you don't want it. So that's my little trick of the day. Okay, so we are on to assembling our card now. So I've just set that image aside to dry, of course, and I picked out this beautiful paper. It's just kind of a scrap piece that I have. I do know that it is from Simply Stated Designs, which is a Canadian company. For those Canadians out there, we don't have a ton of Canadian product designers, so it's always exciting to get to use some of their goodies. And I just wanted to jazz this up. I had this vision when I saw this paper of this little warrior just kind of like she's almost like a Power Ranger, like jumping off the page with her sword up in the air. I mean, the stamp image, her sword isn't way up there, but that was kind of the idea of what I wanted. So I liked this idea of these beams coming out from behind her, like there was power behind her. So I just took a stencil from my stash here, and this was my first time trying this, but instead of using ink, I am using a embossing ink. So this is just the distress embossing. And I just used a little blending brush, and I'm just basically dabbing and blending that on, just as you would with a normal ink that you want to see. And then I'm going to actually use an embossing powder. So this worked really well. I don't know why I wasn't sure it would, because obviously ink works really well with your stencil, and all that is a clear ink. This is a very translucent embossing powder, which has a bit of a gold glare to it. So it just worked perfect because it was subtle and it went over my pattern. There you go. You can see the end result there, but it goes over your pattern so beautifully without taking away from it. So it was just kind of exactly what I was looking for that. And now we're going to also do Unstoppable, and we are going to heat emboss that as well with a detailed gold embossing powder. So you're just going to see me going through all of those steps here. So again, using that distress embossing ink, or ink of your choice, really. And I have an old school canister, a film canister actually, of detailed gold embossing that a girlfriend gave me years ago. And I'm, it's getting low. I did actually just repurchase some new stuff, but I'm still trying to use this one up. So why fix it if it ain't broke, right? So yeah, just tapping off the excess there. And then I do heat emboss off camera, but you can see there the finished Unstoppable. And now I'm just going to stamp the inside of the card. So just showing you the different sentiments that I chose for there. I actually chose a couple. I thought quite a few of the sentiments in this set go together really nicely. That's a trick that I learned from my good friend Sarah Furr. She does a lot of sentiments inside her cards, and she does a lot of mixing and matching with different stamps, and it's a great way to get a lot more use out of your stamp sets, of course, right? A lot more mileage. And then I just wanted a little bit more detail, so I took that same stencil and I just added a bit of purple, because if you see in the pictures later, the paper has a bit of purpley tones to it. So I just went off in the corner and just added a bit of detail. And now I'm just showing you how I did off camera again, go with my sewing machine, and I just stitched straight stitches, pardon me, around both of those, the front card panel and the inside card panel. And just showing you that I pull the thread through to the back, and I just use regular tape. I'm not worried about anything being archival friendly necessarily for cards. Hopefully the recipients do keep them around, but because there's no photos, I don't expect that they have to last hundreds of years. So just plain old cheap tape. Usually I've used washi tape as well. Sometimes we have washi tape in our stash that we want to use up. So whatever works for you. And now we're just going to start assembling our card here, actually. So I use double-sided adhesive for most things, whether it be the flat tape or the foam tape. I know a lot of people like to use more glue. That's just my preference. And so I just put that inside panel down with the double-sided tape. And now we're going to do the same thing with the outside panel. And I also put on a couple pre-adhesive, that's not the right word, adhesive photo corners. I did put on 2 on the 2 top corners. Today I'm using black ones. These are just something that I get from like Amazon or the dollar store, wherever I can find them, really. I've had quite a few people ask me that, so I don't really have any particular place, just wherever I find them, that they're not crazy expensive because I use them a ton. And there's me trying to get that nice and straight. I eyeball everything. I know some people are really good about measuring. I do not. Okay, so I want to make like a skinny little arch that just frames this little lady. So I took 2 of my arch dies together. You can see me taping them down together. I'd use quite a bit of tape because that paper is so sparkly it didn't want to stick. But you can see there it just made this thin little frame. So that was pretty Easy, just ran that through my die cutting machine. And now we're taking some vellum and we're just gonna stamp yet another sentiment. So lots of sentiments, like I say, in this card, which is great. I love that I got to use so much of this stamp setup. And then we're just gonna die cut that out with a sentiment die. Yeah, a sentiment die, that's all I need to say. Okay, I'm using my pen, my Zig glue pen. I know a lot of people used to use these back in the day. I still use mine for little tiny things like this. I just find the adhesive goes on so perfectly in those little tiny areas. I know everybody's got all these wonderful glues and I just haven't got on the bandwagon, I guess. But and I just stuck that flat down to my card. And we're going to do some fussy cutting. So I did both the Unstoppable and the little warrior. And we're going to start sticking this together. So I just wanted to put that Unstoppable, attach it to the vellum. She believed she could, so she did sentiment before I put my foam behind there. So because you don't want to put the foam obviously behind the vellum where it can be seen. So I just glued them together first so that way I could see where I wanted to put my foam tape. And then we're going to put that onto the card near the bottom here. Again, I just eyeball things. How about you guys? Are you measures? Are you very precise? Or do you like to just get it on the card? So this, I chose to use a little black circle to do this just because I have my warrior today on a wobbler. So you guys have probably seen me do this technique before. I pull 3 arm lengths of thread. This is a metallic gold today. And I find with the metallic gold, it's any of the metallic threads actually, they don't love to loop as well as like the cotton threads, etc. And so I just kind of let it drop and then squish all of the loops in, and you just kind of mess it around until you get a little, what you want to call a nest, how you like it. And then I'm just putting that on the back side of this round black circle, pardon me. And there's me just attaching that wobbler to my little warrior. And so the reason the black circle is there is because the wobbler isn't going to adhere very well to just the thread. So I wanted the thread to stick to something so it would stay put. So I basically took, you're going to see me here put this down. And now there's a nice flat surface there for that wobbler to attach to as well. So it'll stick nice. Of course, I do use my glue gun a lot for things, as you just saw me do with this thread. So you could just glue your wobbler down with your glue stick or hot glue, pardon me. I haven't tried that. They are plastic, so I just worry the hot glue could potentially cause some issues. And then when you squish it down, you don't want that hot glue to stick to the underside of the girl and not have a wobble in the end. So yeah, I just felt like this was maybe the best solution to get the best result. And here I am just showing you, I'm using my multi-matte medium, and I'm just going to add some little pearls here, which will basically finish off my card. So these are little gold flat back pearls. Lots of companies have them. These particular ones I'll mention I got from HAI Supply, and the reason I'm mentioning them is because I won a wonderful gift from them through the Creative Scrapbooking magazine this last year. So shout out to them, because thank you. I've been enjoying all of the fun treats that I got to choose from them, and I do use them quite a bit. So this is one of the packages that I chose. And I do love the gold. I should have bought just a gold pack, but I guess when I use them all up, I can get more. All right, and here's me just showing you that last look at the full finished card, and there she is doing her little wobble. And then the inside sentiment there, all done and finished up. Now you got some nice photos here of the finished card as well. I just thank you all so much for joining me. If you have any feedback for me, please just leave a comment below. I would love it if you would subscribe, like, and comment on my video. Thank you so much for watching.